Have you ever thought about what they're thinking when you disappear? That's not what I mean by pulling back a little. I mean totally disappearing from their world, just like you never existed. Because they are sick of seeing you. They are too used to it. They believe that they can treat you badly, and you will still stay. You've made them feel good by telling them you're always there for them. But what do you do when you have had enough? It's true that you've been holding on to them like they were air. Did they ever treat you like they needed you to breathe, though? Not at all. It's because they got too used to things. They began to take advantage of you. But now, things are different. That's when they'll feel it. When you stop showing up, when your calls stop going through, and when your presence is just a memory in their rearview mirror, then they'll understand what they've lost. They had no idea it would happen. For a moment, they were in charge. After 1 second, it's taken away from them, leaving them with their own questions and fears. Their sudden lack of you pushes them into a world where they can't claim your energy, presence, or attention. I'm telling you, they feel it. It hurts more than any argument, talk, or plea for them to see how valuable you are. They don't just miss you when you're not around. They crave you. That's what quiet can do. How it feels to leave them when they least expect it. You become a puzzle they can't figure out, the empty space they can't fill. And when things are unclear, it's not you who can't sleep. It's them. Because you're always available, they know what to expect from you. They put you in a box because they think they know how to make you do what they want. But here's the shocker. You're no longer predictable. You're done following their rules. When you leave, when you disappear without a trace, they are left with one scary question. What if I really lost them? It's like kicking them out from under them. How sure they are. Gone. Their pride. Broken up. They now feel bad about every move, word, and time they pushed you away, because they thought you'd always be there to pick up the pieces. We feel bad for them now. A smart friend of ours once said, "Sometimes you don't realize what you had until it's gone." I really connect with this quote because it hits at the core of what it means to be human. To forget about things we think will always be there. People miss more than just your presence when you're not in their lives. They miss realizing that they took you for granted. The quiet you leave behind makes them face the harsh truth. They didn't value you until they couldn't get to you. Who was missing? It rings through their minds like a loud alarm clock, telling them that they lost something they didn't even know they needed. But here's the thing. This isn't about getting back at someone or tricking them. This is about getting your power back. They need to see that you are not someone they can afford to lose. And when you leave, it doesn't just change the game. It shakes the soul. They feel it in ways they didn't expect because they didn't know how much you meant to them until you were gone. Always keep this in mind. People don't value what they have until it's gone. It's how people are. That doesn't mean you have to wait for them to catch up, though. People shouldn't have to wait until you're gone to find out how valuable you are. But sometimes that's the only way to get them to see what they did not see before. You have to disappear sometimes to show them how important you are. Think about this. You've been trying to meet someone new, or the spark in your relationship is going out. You spent time with them, worked hard, and paid attention to them. Still, it's not very useful. They're not paying attention to you and act like you're not important to them. Doesn't it hurt? But let's face it, you are the one doing all the work. They're used to the thought that you'll always be there for them and give without asking anything in return. That's where you change the story. Imagine pulling away and stopping that constant flow of attention. When they wake up, you're not there. No more texts, calls, or giving in to their whims. It hits them at that moment. You put in the work, and now the lack of your energy is stronger than anything they've ever felt. They're not as sure of themselves now. The first time they felt what it's like to miss you, they're trying to figure out what happened. You are now in charge. Now, I want you to do something. Step away. Let them know what life is really like without you. You will know for sure that you have power when they start to reach out and try to pull you back into their circle. Do not forget to write, "I accept the challenge" in the comments if you are ready to take charge of your story. Here are 9 things they'll feel when you just leave, so you can stop chasing them and let them know what they lost when you disappeared. They didn't see this coming, and it's going to shake them up in ways they didn't expect. When you stop being a part of their life, it's not just a small thing that they remember. It's a huge change. This isn't just about giving them space. It's about making them feel empty in a way they never thought possible. You fill the empty space in their minds, the peace they can't ignore. I'm sure they'll feel it all over their minds. The game then changes. At that point, they start to feel a pull toward you that they didn't expect. The absence they didn't think much about now comes back to haunt them. They can't help but be drawn back to the place you once filled, like a magnet. Someone starts to wonder where you are, what you're doing, and why they didn't see how valuable you were until it was gone. There is no denying the change in power. You have become the wonder and the energy they need. The really scary part is that pull gets stronger the longer you stay away. They will be the ones chasing you instead of you. Don't leave me now. Click the like button below this video to help it reach more people who need to take back their power. Because I know you need this word more than anyone else. A lot of other people are stuck in the same circle and are waiting for that one thing that will wake them up. Together, break it. Number 1. The sting of rejection. What do they feel when you disappear? Turning down. No, not just any rejection. The kind that hurts deeply and stays with them long after they know you're gone. To start with the cold truth, they never thought this would happen. They didn't think you would be the one to leave. Too many of them were used to the idea that you'd always be there, waiting for things to change that would never happen. Now though, their world is shaking, and this turn down, it hits them like a punch they didn't see coming. When you're not there, they feel ignored, which hurts their pride. The hurt is the same whether it's someone new you were trying to meet, or an old friend from a friendship that's gotten dull. At first, they might act like it doesn't bother them, cool and uninterested. But deep down, they know it does. They feel more deeply than they'd ever admit that feeling of being left behind and losing power all of a sudden. Imagine that you've been trying to get someone new to like you. You were interested, worked hard, and made it clear that you were ready. On the other hand, they kept you away from them. Maybe they kept your attention, but never fully returned it. They knew it because you were always the one putting yourself out there. This made them feel at ease. They thought you'd always be there waiting for them to do something next. But now, everything changes. You're gone. You stop trying to reach out. You take all of your life back. All of a sudden, they feel the weight of your loss. The rejection hurts more than they thought it would. They begin to think about what went wrong. Were they too distant? Did they miss their chance? They start to question themselves in ways they never did when you were around, because they feel like they've been left behind. The worst part is that you're not there to comfort them, clear up their questions, or give them any answers. You've left them to deal with their own worries and fears, which hurts. Let's move on to an old friendship that's barely holding on. You may have been hanging on because you didn't want to be the one to leave, or you may have been trying to bring back a spark that has been lost for a long time. But you know it's over in the back of your mind. They've become cold and detached, and they act like they have to be there. What will happen when you finally choose to disappear? They might feel better at first because they think you've just given them space. But as the days go by and they can't find you, that comfort quickly turns into a bitter feeling of being turned down. They understand all of a sudden that they've lost you. When they realize they can't take you for granted anymore, it hurts. They might not have cared about you when you were there, but now that you're gone, the rejection makes them think about what they've lost. Steve Mirabile said, "The most painful thing is losing yourself in the process of loving someone too much and forgetting that you are special too." No other quote feels as true. They didn't care about you, whether it was a new person or someone from the past. They forgot how unique you are. And now that you've left, the pain of rejection comes from them no longer seeing how valuable you are. But here's the harsh truth. This time of being turned down is not about them. It's about getting your power back. Because let's be honest, you've been too scared to leave for too long. You thought that if you were gone, they would forget about you or find someone else to replace you. You've been stuck in a cycle where you give more than you receive because of your fear. You see that your fear was only a dream now that you're farther away. Right now, you're not running away or giving up. You're letting go of the need to show your worth to someone who should have known it all along. The hurt they feel when they are turned down is just a mirror of what happens when they finally understand that you are not theirs. Also, keep this in mind. You're not here to chase. You're not here to be taken for granted. You are the prize. Say this statement over and over to keep yourself grounded in this clear moment. I am enough as I am, and I will never beg for anyone to see my worth. Take that in. You don't need to look for approval from someone who didn't like you when you were right there in front of them. You're not running away to trick or play games. You're taking a step back because you know you deserve more. Let's settle it in the comments for good. I want you to write these words if you're ready to take charge and are done being a choice. I'm done begging. Write it down. Take responsibility for it. Let everyone know that you're not here to please other people. Now is the time for them to feel what it's like without you. You deserve better. This is only the first problem they have to deal with. They are about to have 8 more powerful realizations. Keep your eyes on me, because the trip isn't over yet. You need to know exactly what will happen and how it will affect them before you take this step and escape. That's right. Every step of this process will completely change things. Number 2, the emptiness of missing something. Once they get over the pain of being turned down, they'll feel empty due to missing something. You. At first, they may try to forget about being turned down by telling themselves they're fine without you. They might even put on a brave face and act like it doesn't bother them. In their hearts, though, they can't ignore the pain that's getting stronger. The empty space you've left behind. They didn't think much about you when you were in their lives. You were always there, ready to help with your time, energy, and care. But now, where you used to be, there's a huge hole that's slowly eating away at them. It's not just that they won't have anyone to talk to or spend time with. The deeper truth is that they miss the safety, comfort, and steadiness you brought into their lives. Let's say you've been trying to meet someone new. You've been there for them, making time for them, and working hard to show that you care. They may have kept you at a distance, though, because they always thought you'd be there. They didn't think what you brought to their lives was valuable. But since you're no longer there, they feel empty without you. Every second of quiet and day that goes by without a text or call from you makes them feel heavier and more profound than they thought. Soon, they'll notice the little things that make their day better, like how much more interesting their life seems when you're a part of it. Now that you're gone, all of those little things add up to make the void clear. When it's an old friendship, the feeling is even stronger. You've been there through the good times and the bad. You've always been there and kept the relationship together. They may have become smug because they believed that you would always be there, no matter what. They understand how much of their life was built around you now that you're gone. The goodnight texts, the weekend plans, and the shared laughs used to make them feel better. But now they hurt because they remind them of what they've lost. They feel this loss in strange ways. They'll notice when a song, a place, or a memory from the past makes them think of you. It will be felt in the empty space where your voice used to be. Their lack of your presence is a steady reminder of how much you added to their lives, and they can't get rid of the feeling that something important is missing. You don't know what you've got until it's gone. What they're feeling right now is nicely summed up in that quote. They didn't value what they had when it was in front of them, and now they're trying to fill the hole by remembering good times. But having you back is better than anything else, no matter how hard they try. People's thoughts have a hard time with loss. When we lose something or someone we care about, we think about it all the time, trying to figure out how to deal with the sudden change. Indeed, that's what they're doing now. They may try to take their minds off of things by spending time with friends, starting a new hobby, or even looking for someone else. It won't work though. The nothingness lasts too long and is too real. They always feel like something or someone important is missing, no matter what they do. The brain wants things it doesn't have. They will be pulled back to the thought of you more and more as they try to move on. Everyone they meet will be judged by how you look. It dawns on them that no one will ever be able to match the bond they had with you. They didn't just see you to pass the time. You were important to them and made a difference in their life. Things don't seem to fit right now that you're gone. What are you going to do now? You're not just waiting for them to understand what they've lost. You've already moved on, put your attention on yourself, and taken back your power. They feel like they've lost so much because you're not giving them any more of your energy. No longer are you their safety net, the person they can turn to when they need to be heard or cared for. It's beginning to hit them that they're now on their own. You might want to try to get in touch with them now to see if they've noticed what they've lost. Here's the thing though, don't let them sit there empty. Allow them to fully understand how much they miss you. If you step in too soon, they won't fully understand how valuable you are. This is their wake-up call. Say to yourself over and over, I am whole without them. To keep your footing during this time, you don't need their approval. To be whole, to feel important, you don't need their attention. You're good enough on your own, and their loneliness is not yours to bear. Don't be surprised if they start trying to get in touch with you as they feel the sadness of missing you. But don't forget that you are in charge now. You decide if they can come back. Plus, they'll come back because missing you makes them feel empty, and no one else can fill that hole. Here's the second statement to help you stay grounded. I am whole without them. Feel free to write it in the comments once and for all. This is your statement that you don't need their approval or attention to feel whole. You're whole, and the fact that they're not there makes you stronger. Number 3, an overwhelming curiosity. The next thing that comes to their mind after the pain of being turned down and the sadness of missing you is a strong desire to know more. At first, they might act like they don't care that you're gone, but the truth is that they're quietly becoming more and more interested. People start to wonder what you're up to, who you're hanging out with, and why you haven't been in touch. Their mind starts to race with questions like, why did you pull away? Did you find someone else? Would you be better off without them? Thoughts of where you are, what you're doing, and how easy it would be for you to disappear filled their minds. It starts out as a question that turns into an obsession over time. They think about you all the time. When it comes to a new person, their interest comes from being confused. You used to chase them and pay attention to them, but now you're a ghost. It drives them crazy that they can't figure out why you stopped. They start to feel like they've lost the upper hand, and your absence turns into a mystery they need to solve right away. It hurts even more every time they check their phone and don't see any texts from you. This makes them want to know what's going on in your life. It's even stronger in an old friendship. They knew everything about you, like what you did every day and how you lived your life. They have no idea what's going on now, and that lack of knowledge is terrible. People are interested in who is taking your place since you left. Does someone else make you laugh? Or did you finally decide to leave them behind and start a new, better path? They feel this overwhelming interest all day, not just when they have some free time. They get really upset when they wake up and don't see a word from you. It makes them even more angry when they look through your social media and don't see anything from you. No matter how hard they look, they won't find what they're looking for because you're not giving them any hints. They may check up on you indirectly through shared friends or sneaky social media stalking. At this point, you are living your life focused on yourself and enjoying the space you've made for yourself. Their anger comes from the fact that you're no longer bound by their needs or needs for attention. They are more interested in you, the more mysterious you are. As you feel this, remind yourself of this affirmation: I am the mystery they can't solve. Feel free to write it in the comments to make it official. You're no longer an open book they can read whenever they want. You've turned into a puzzle they can't solve, and I'm sure they'll be unable to help but try to figure you out. Number 4. Deep self-reflection. After being consumed by an enormous desire to know where you went and what you're doing, self-reflection starts to take shape. When you're gone from their life, they have to look inside themselves, which makes them question themselves in ways they hadn't before. Maybe they didn't notice you weren't there at first, but as time goes on and they feel the void, their thoughts turn inward. Did I push them away? Was I too far away? These questions start to bother them, making them feel a lot of doubt and sorrow. They watch conversations over and over again, focusing on times when they could have done something different, like paying more attention or treating you with more respect. This reflection shocks someone who is new to it. They might not have known how much they missed you, or how little they valued your efforts to connect. They are wondering if they missed their chance now that you're gone. Was it too cold? Did I forget about a person who might have been great? That self-reflection is hard, but it has to be done. As they learn they were the reason you pulled away, they'll understand that your distance is because they aren't trying hard enough, which hurts more than they thought. When you're in an old relationship, you think about yourself even more. When the relationship gets old, they start to wonder why they let it happen. It makes them remember the times when you were there, trying to light the spark again. They start to understand how spoiled they were. Every memory makes them think of all the times they didn't show up. And now that you're gone, they have to think about how they failed. I had the chance to enjoy them, so why didn't I? I should have given more. The goal of this deep self-reflection is not to feel sorry for myself. It has to do with facing the truth about how they should act. It's clear that their actions, or lack of actions, made you leave, so they can't say that you were bad for leaving. This is where they begin to see the flaws in their own character. Number 5, the urge to pursue you. After some deep self-reflection, they will have a strong desire to pursue you that they can't fight. This is where things really change. The person who used to feel in charge now wants to get back what they lost. It's no longer just a thought. They need and want to get back in touch with the person they thought was normal. At first, they might have told themselves that they didn't need you, and that their life was fine without you. But now that they've been turned down, missed your energy, wrestled with curiosity, and faced their own flaws, the sadness they feel and the knowledge of what they've lost gives them a drive they can't ignore. You feel like you need to reach out, fix things, and get closer to them more than anything else. They start to feel like they might have lost something special when they're trying to get someone new. The way you were always there, showing care, putting in work, and being consistent comes back to them. Because that's gone, they feel the need to bring you back into their circle. They might start by liking your posts in a subtle way, sending you a message just to see what happens, or even asking their shared friends about you. Every little move is a way for them to get you back, trying to make the link they didn't value before. When you're in an old relationship, this urge is stronger. It makes them think of all the times you tried to make things work, like the dinners, talks, and other things you did to keep the relationship going. They can now see how much you did for them while you were away. The truth hits you hard. They need that back. They need you back. For them, wanting you becomes the most important thing, and they'll do anything to win you back. It is clear that there is irony in the fact that they are now the ones chasing you after you pulled away. The roles have switched. They are now uncomfortable with the fact that they don't have power. Knowing you were always there and available used to feel like confidence. But now, it's just fear and doubt. The more they miss you, the more they want to fix what's wrong and make things right. But this is where your power lies. The choice to step back is already made for you. Now you have to decide if their quest is worth your time. It's not about playing games. It's about being sure of your own worth and not having to chase anyone else. You decide if they can come back, not them. As they try to get back in touch, remember this: you are the prize, not a choice. They're chasing you because they finally understand what you already knew. They want to be with you. Take a deep breath and say this affirmation to yourself: I attract, I don't chase. Say it in the comments for good and let everyone know. Now that you've changed the situation, they want to go after you. But know that you are now in charge, and it is up to you whether they come back or not. Number 6, the battle between relief and regret. They are having a hard time deciding whether to follow you or not because they are feeling two strong emotions fighting inside them: relief and regret. When you were gone from their life for a while, they may have felt temporarily better. You could have made them feel like, finally, some space. They might have even believed that your absence was what they needed to move on, find someone else, or get their freedom back. Happiness doesn't last, though. Soon, regret starts to set in. It starts slowly, with small thoughts like, maybe I should have tried harder, or maybe I was too far away. These thoughts build up over time, and soon the person feels guilt instead of relief. They start to understand how wrong it was for them to think you would always be there, and they have to face the fact that they lost something important. If you're new, the guilt makes you feel like you missed a rare chance. At first, they may have liked having their own place and felt better because they weren't having to deal with your attention. They now wonder what might have happened if they had given you a real chance. They wish they had put money into you when they had the chance. When it comes to an old friendship, the regret is stronger. At first, when you pulled away, they might have felt like a weight was taken off their shoulders. But as the days go by, the emptiness grows. They remember so many things that they didn't appreciate until now. At first, they were relieved, but soon after, they felt bad about losing someone who really cared about them. This fight between happiness and sadness is more than just an emotional one. It's a wake-up call. They understand that what they thought was freedom was really just not having anything important in their lives. They now have to carry the heavy weight of knowing they didn't value you when they had the chance. Don't lose your ground. Say to yourself, at this point, I am more than enough. Write it in the comments to remember yourself that you are worth more than the short-term relief you felt. Know that you are no longer a choice and that they let a treasure slip away. Let their regret fuel your strength. Number 7, the desire to play the game. Even though they feel bad about what they did, they still want to play the game. This is their last-ditch effort to get back in charge, to test the waves and see if they can change things to get you back. Instead of meeting their feelings directly, they use tricks to try to get you back without having to admit they were wrong. But here's the thing, they're not ahead anymore. They'll try to act like they don't care, maybe even disconnected, because they think that if they act like you'll be interested in them again. The standard move is to act like they don't care and wait for you to come running back. They could start showing off their full and exciting life without you on social media, which is a sneaky way to make you jealous. They might even flirt with other people in front of you because they want to get to you. The game doesn't work, though, because you're no longer playing. You've taken a step back, taken back your power, and are no longer the one being chased. They only show how insecure they are by wanting to play the game, since you're already past reacting to what they say. You know that the game is just a last-ditch effort to get back in charge of something they can't handle. This game might feel like a test for someone who has never played before. They'll act like your absence doesn't bother them, hoping that you'll be the one to break the silence. But as they try to keep calm, their faith starts to waver. It makes them more angry every day that you don't talk to them, even though they want you to first. The games get even harder when the two people are already together. In order to see if you'll bite, they might act hot and cold, sending you mixed messages. You're not going to fall for it this time, though. Their desire to play games is a last-ditch effort to get back the power they used to have. But you're past the point where their tricks need to validate you. Say this to yourself every day. I no longer play games. You can write it in the comments to make your point stronger. You've already won by leaving the game. Let them play as much as they want. Number 8, the harsh weight of silence. After all of their games and tug-of-war, they are met with something they did not expect, the crushing weight of quiet. There are times when silence is stronger than words, and your absence is very loud. At first, they thought they could handle it and wait you out. Now, though, the silence is making them weak. There is no more arguing, making excuses, or other things to do. There is only quiet, and it's awful. They start to feel the heavy void that you used to fill. Every moment that goes by without a call, text, or even a simple chat makes them think of what they've lost. This silence makes them think about their own things, and the fact that you don't talk to each other shows how far apart you are without saying it. They miss more than just the sound of your voice. They're haunted by the link you two had. And each day that goes by without hearing from you feels worse than the last. This silence is terrible for someone new. For them, you're the one who makes things happen and keeps things going forward. However, since you've stepped back, they are now alone with their thoughts. They can't get away from the silence, which shows how unsure they are and how little they are trying. When you're in an old relationship, silence hurts even more. People who know you well are used to the routines of your relationship, like the late night talks, plans, and even fights that used to happen there. There is no longer anything. They have to face the truth of life without you because of the silence, and it's not easy for them to get over it. They are left to feel bad about everything they did or didn't say, and to hear the sound of every chance they missed and every moment they thought you weren't there. To tell you that you're no longer there to fill the void. Silence is a powerful force, and it gets worse for them as it goes on for longer. Take a deep breath and say this to yourself. My silence speaks volumes. Feel free to write it in the comments. Use this quiet to your advantage. As they deal with the weight of it, you stand tall, knowing that your silence speaks louder than any words you could have said. The ninth thing is the fear that makes them crawl back. After having to deal with the crushing weight of quiet for a while, their fear takes over. They fear that you've moved on and that they'll never see you again. This fear is what makes them come back. It's not about ego, pride, or games anymore. Finally, it's time to stay alive. They can't stand the thought of living without you, and it hits them like a ton of bricks that they might have missed their chance. I can't move because I'm afraid I'll lose you forever. It keeps them up at night and during the day. They start to wonder if you found happiness and satisfaction somewhere else, if someone else has taken your place. This fear keeps bothering them, making them feel so much stress and guilt that they have to do something. They can't stand the thought of you being gone forever, and all of a sudden, getting you back doesn't matter at all. When it comes to a new person, this fear comes from realizing they didn't think much of you. They believed they could take their time and that you would always be a choice. But now it's been too long of silence, and they're desperate because they think someone else has your attention. Because they can't stand the thought of losing you, they'll start calling, texting, and even showing up when you least expect it to try to get you back. The fear is even stronger for people who are in an old relationship. They thought they knew you well and could guess what you would do next. But now that you're not there, they're freaking out. They know that all the times they pushed you away or ignored you have led to this, your silence and your freedom. And that scares them. They will do anything to make things right and get you back in their life, even if it means putting their pride aside and knelt in front of you. Finally, the most important part. If they come back, it will be on your terms. You're no longer the one who needs approval or recognition. Now that you have control again, they want to be in your life more than ever. In this moment, everything changes, and they understand how important you are. Say this to yourself every day. I am worth the chase. You can write it in the comments if you want to. To become stronger, let their fear drive you. These people are coming back because they know what they lost. You decide if they deserve another chance. If you like this video, please follow and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Your strength comes from being able to leave and let them know you're not there. Remember to say keep it up in the comments if you're ready to stand your ground and show them what they've lost. Don't forget that you are the prize. Keep your cool, stay strong, and always know what you're worth. You have to let them crawl back if you want them to. Stay strong until next time.